What's good, everybody? Welcome in to the Early Edge, your daily sports betting brand of record. We're powered, as always, by the almighty SportsLine, the best value in all sports betting. And it's not close. It is National Championship Monday. That means nada. No NBA today, but we have you covered in soccer, a little baseball, a little discussion as well. Now, yesterday wasn't the greatest day at the brand, but if you're a SportsLine member, my man Proppy, he went 2-0 at SportsLine. We're way bigger than just the Early Edge. We just are a conduit to SportsLine. How about that Iowa LSU game? I'm kind of torn on it, to be honest with you. That we had Iowa, we lost, obviously. But LSU, congratulations for the win. But how about winning with some class? I've never seen a more disgusting display of right in somebody's face as you're beating them for the national championship. Hopefully, she talks to her team before next year when they're going to be the betting favorite for the national championship. Now, it is a busy, busy week and day at the brand. Today, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, live right here on our channel, National Championship Live Preview Show with me and the crew. We will be decked out. San Diego State, UConn. We'll have a little discussion on this show as well. And then tomorrow, I've been touting it for a week. The great Steve Scott once famously battled Tiger Woods in the U.S. Amateur and has played in the Masters. He will be a live guest and making picks on the Early Wedge live Tuesday at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. Now, hit the like button. And also, I need you to type into the chat, who are you rolling with tonight? It's the battle of our final two cappers still standing. It's Berg Betts. It's Zach Attack. Let us know in the chat. Are you a Zach? They've got to pick the spread, the total, and total points scored in the game for the right to call themselves the best early edge capper of 2023. So with all the housekeeping done, let's bring in the stars of this show. You know them. You love them. And on a Monday, are you kidding me? This is the end of our week. And so I had to bring two of my absolute very best to the table this morning. Ladies and gentlemen, live from parts unknown, Proppy, two-time today. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Coach. Cousin Sia Buckets. I'm fired up. I love that we have the day off from the NBA. Couldn't be more excited for the Early Wedge show tomorrow. Also, can't wait to see who wins our Battle of the Cappers. Shout out Zach. Shout out Berg Betts. Going to be a really interesting matchup. Let's get down to business.
Somebody already noticed you have Buckets 2024 under your name. Oh, my goodness.
Official campaign manager, I might add as well, Coach.
Please do not feed the beast. Please do not feed the beast. Now, this man has been a beast. Oh, I'm fired up for the Early Wedge. I tell you what, it's the start of Masters Week. Did I fail to mention that? The counselor of cash, Mr. Sia Nejad. Good morning, sir.
Also excited about the Early Wedge. And by the way, I have an article on SportsLine that you can check out as well. I published it last week. It was just a full article, not just first round leaders, but really everything, all my head-to-head matchups. I added a couple things from the Early Wedge, just kind of building off of the Early Wedge too. So look out for that. But of course, on the Early Wedge, we're going to have all of it. And by the way, running mate, Buckets, I'm in if you're in. Let's do this thing.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. Did Buckets beat you for the first time in a showdown the other day? That happened, correct?
He did. He absolutely did.
I looked at my phone and I saw Montpellier, or however you guys say that. And I was like, they scored the first goal because that was going to be the tough one. When he said,
no idea.
How did you feel when you beat your nemesis for the first time after 13 tries?
Coach, it is a feeling that I will never be able to even come close to replicating. Even when I become the future president, it will not come near the feelings I had winning that showdown. However, I just want to let everybody know that I won that showdown with class. I texted Sia after and I said, good job, Sia. It was an absolute pleasure. Let's do it again sometime. Nothing but respect from me to Sia.
By the way, who taught you how to do that thing underneath your name? I just saw it. Who taught you how to do that?
My wonderful campaign manager, Proppy, helped me do that.
Oh, my God. What have we done? All right, ladies and gentlemen, don't forget to hit that like button for me. And Zach, Berg Betts, or anything you want in the chat. We want you moving. We want you talking this morning. We want energy. So let's get into it. No storylines today. We're going straight to fade or follow. There might not be any NBA games today, but there is a full slate of Major League Baseball games. Buckets, I'm going to have you sit just for a second, but don't worry. We got your segment coming up, Mr. Home Run Predictor MLB guy. All right, so see ya. Probably. This is all you. Game number one. Fade or following the favorite on the money line. -105 is the Mets and the Brewers. Sia, are you fading or following the favorite to win?
I'm going to be taking the Mets, Mets, Mets. I actually even like them maybe with a first half play at +100. I wanted to take it with like a +0.5, but that's -150. So I think I'm going to go with the Mets here.
Okay. Probably talk to me.
Yeah, I'm going Mets as well. I think they have a very disciplined lineup. And I just think they're going to be the favorite today versus the Brewers.
All right. Very, very good. And the chat seems to like the Mets today as well. Remember, it's very early in the baseball season. Be very careful. Maybe the unit size a little bit less until we really see what these teams are all about. Game number 2. And it's 2 teams that are only about, hour and a half apart, 2 hours apart. We're talking Philly, and we're talking the Yankees today. Who is the home team? That is the question. Who is the home team? I think it's the Yankees. Am I right? It's the Yankees? Yes. All right.
Yes.
Yankees are -178 on the money line. Very, very juicy. But sometimes the juice is worth the squeeze. Sia Nejad, is it today?
It probably is. I mean, I wouldn't do that, but I would potentially include it in like a money line parlay, maybe an EC special 2-game money line parlay. Here's the thing: this is a bad spot for Taijuan Walker, especially going up against Cortez. I think Cortez is really going to be good, and the Phillies might be facing 0-4, maybe 0-5, maybe 0-6. It's just a tough spot for the Phillies. I do think, again, I kind of sort of specialize when it comes to MLB. I'm certainly not maybe of the caliber of some of these guys. One thing I really hone in on is the first half bets, otherwise known as the first 5. I actually think giving up the half a run, Yanks -0.5 at -115 is a pretty smart play. I'm usually on the other side of that with the underdog, the road team getting a +0.5. In this case, though, I think it's such a tough matchup. I think I like the Yanks -0.5 a run here, first 5.
I think it's a really smart way. We talked about it all the time last year. It really cuts the juice in half, and especially if you have a really good starting pitcher as well. Proppy, do you agree with that take from Sia?
I got to go with my fighting Phils, coach. I know it's a tough matchup. I know we're shorthanded. No Bryce Harper, no Hoskins, but I feel like they have enough power in the lineup. The addition of Trey Turner, I think the Phillies are going to get it done.
All right, so we've got the Phillies. We've got the Yankees from Sia. All right, don't worry, Buckets. We're getting to you. All right, game number 3, the Braves. They are a -135 favorite on the road against the Cardinals, who, wow, did they give up some runs against Toronto this weekend? My goodness. And now the Braves, the powerful Braves, see it come to town. Are you following or fading the favorites, the Braves?
I will be fading the Braves, actually. I wonder about Charlie Morton, where he is in his career. I mean, he's kind of getting older here, and he got dinged up a little bit last season. Jake Woodford, I don't know a ton about Jake Woodford, but I do know he's potentially an up-and-coming pitcher. I think he is a really interesting guy to put your money on early before kind of word is out. And for the record, those first half bets, I do like the Cardinals first half +0.5. The juice there is only -125. Again, that's first half +0.5, -125. Not an official play, but maybe something I'll bet before this game actually opens.
Which means for those of you who are brand new to baseball betting, come to us. We got you. Educate and entertain. What that means is if you have a tie ball game or even they're ahead, you win that bet by buying that half run. You're laying a little juice, but you get that half run. Very, very important. And in first 5 bets, extremely important. Propping in the chat, Tom from Pittsburgh says the Cardinals may be an over team this year. Very possible. What do you think about this game, though?
Yeah, let me preface by stating I think these are 2 of the best teams in baseball. Very possible NLCS potential preview here. I know we're obviously just in the beginning of the season, but I really love both of these rosters. I'm with Sia, though. I'm taking the Cardinals here. I think there's a lot of question marks about 39-year-old Charlie Morton. Shout out Charlie Morton, by the way, native of Flemington, New Jersey, I might add, home to the very best produce in all of the continental United States. But yeah, we are going to go with the Cardinals in this matchup, and I will have some more on Charlie Morton's matchup later.
You have become quite the tease. I can remember a time when, give me 15 seconds, and now look at him. He's teasing his own stuff. They don't even need me. All right, now we're just getting started. It's a big show on a Monday, right? But we got to pay all these expensive talents, and there's a little network that we're on all the time. We're taking over. It's called CBS Sports HQ.
Get breaking news,
Big news coming out of the NFL today.
highlights, and instant reactions.
The largest final round comeback in tour championship history. We're down to the final four.
I just want to take time to analyze greatness.
Talk winners and losers with a guy who's already a big winner.
CBS Sports HQ. It's all sports all day long.
CBS Sports HQ, live from the national championship. They've been doing an amazing job, I believe, down there in the state of Texas. All right, we have arrived at a very, very important time of the show. This is where Buckets gets involved. Now, if you don't think my man Buckets knows his baseball, you just don't know. The other day, we put 3 names up on the board, screen, whatever you want to call it. And he goes, no, I'm not going with any one of those. How about Jorge Soler of the Miami Marlins? Damn it, if Jorge Soler did not hit a home run in his first at bat. I couldn't believe it. So today, pick the prop. Oh, but this is a strikeout prop. It's not a home run prop there, Buckets. May have thrown you off just a little bit. Carlos Carrasco, 4.5. Jose Barrios, 4.5. Michael Capa, 5.5. Pick the prop. Which pitcher goes over their strikeout total? I'm going to come to you last, Buckets. See ya. Which one do you like here?
Over their total, it's probably going to be Carrasco for me. Again, I do like the Mets. I'm not sure about the Brewers hitting. The K rate, I'll have to defer a little bit to Proppy there, or Buckets, of course. But I think I'm going to take Carrasco here because I honestly, I don't like the prospects of Berrios this year in general. So I'd take the under there. And 5.5 is a little rich over there for Kopech.
The chat is saying that the Brewers historically rake against Carlos Carrasco. Honestly, didn't look it up, but they might be right. We'll see. All right, so Sia says Carrasco. Proppy. K-props are going to be up a little bit later in the season at SportsLine. But what do you like today?
If I had to choose one of these, I will say that I do believe all these lines are very efficient. It would be Kopech. I agree with Sia. It is a little rich for him, but it is a fantastic matchup against the San Francisco Giants, who are striking out at an exponential rate to start the season. Kopech does have really good stuff. If he pitches 5 innings, I think he's got a great shot to eclipse 6 strikeouts.
And the White Sox just might be a part of our board today. You never know. See that tease? Not Buckets. Sorry, Alex. I would never give Buckets that. Props. All right, Buckets, we're coming to you. You've had some time. You've assessed the situation. Give me a name of a pitcher that's going to go over there. K-prop today. Talk to me.
Well, Coach, I am going to defer to what my campaign manager has already stated, Proppy here. I agree with him 100% that Michael Capa is going to be the guy we would look to for these strikeouts at over 5.5. And I'm not only saying that because that's the only name I think that I'm going to be able to pronounce correctly, but I just think he's the right choice here, Coach.
What was this thing?
Michael Capa.
Oh,
That's the correct way to pronounce
That's the correct pronunciation.
Coach.
That's actually true. You're supposed to do that.
Are you for real?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
disrespectful if you don't.
Yeah.
His mouth to your ears.
Okay. All right. So we have 3 different answers. Sort of. All right. Now, we've got one more small discussion. It's called the National Championship. However, just a few weeks ago, a big announcement was made this fall. Part of what we're doing here at the Early Edge, it will add to this on CBS. All right, a bonus fade or follow here on the Early Edge today. If you're a SportsLine member, then you already know that every single capper at SportsLine that has made a pick on the national championship has taken UConn at -7 over San Diego State. So are we fading or following our own people at SportsLine and the Early Edge? Sia Nejad, I'm going to start with you. Fading or following UConn?
I'm really torn here because I haven't had official plays against UConn, at least not their last couple of games, but I thought Miami was going to cover the 5.5. Mind you, I thought FAU was going to cover as well. So I ended up going 1-1 there on non-official plays. But this one seems like, man, when the whole world is on UConn, you kind of have to look the other way a little bit. Now it's 7.5. I love what UConn is doing from a point differential standpoint. They're absolutely blitzing every team they play. And it does seem a little too easy to just be like, let me take the favorite again. They're going to do it again. But I got to say, I think that's the play here. I'm going to be siding with all of our SportsLine experts. I think this is yet another double-digit win for UConn ultimately.
I think the way that they've been substituting, I think Danny Hurley's done an amazing job of keeping size on the court every minute of the game. And it's been very difficult for teams to score. So, Proppy, I come to you. We have one follow. What say you?
Shout out Danny Hurley. Shout out the great University of UConn. Shout out Karan Butler. Shout out Ray Allen, coach. But I believe it was one of the greatest philosophers of our time that once said, I want all the smoke. So we are fading UConn. I am a born contrarian. Give me a fade. We're fading. Let's go against all the experts. Whenever there's a consensus agreement like this, we fade.
That's fair.
So Sia says that's fair. Proppy is a contrarian, and we got Buckets over there doing this for some reason. Now, this scares me a lot, but I'm going to do it because it's my job. Buckets, San Diego State, UConn for the national championship. UConn is favored by 7. Are you fading or following all the experts at SportsLine on UConn?
So, Coach, I actually went and read some of the write-ups by the experts here over at SportsLine on this matchup, and all of them forgot one massive key factor. None of them acknowledged the fact that when I was 6 years old, I was bitten by a husky. Did you know that, Coach? I was attacked by a husky. Therefore, I will never follow a team that has a husky as a mascot.
You're lying.
I'm not lying. I was bit by a husky as a child. I will never bet on a team that has the audacity to use a husky as a mascot. Give me SDSU San Diego. Was that who? Yeah, San Diego. Give me them to win. I'm with Proppy. I'm taking the fade. Let's go Sidisu.
He still has the scar on his thigh to prove it as well.
I'm not going to show that on camera. But
how do you know, Alex?
I was privy to this story. It was part of the analysis.
Let's go to the next segment.
Somebody in the chat says, give Sia Buckets and EC a show. Coach would explode or implode or whatever other adjective you have. Yes, it's all right. I got a question for you from the chat. Buckets, what state is San Diego in?
So that's a multi-layered question there, Coach.
No, it's not a multi-layered question. It's a simple question that any kindergartner would know.
Felt a little personal on the attack there, but is it Nevada?
Oh, no.
No, it's not Nevada, because I'm kidding, of course. Oregon? I'm not a geography major, Coach. I can show you where Istanbulspor is on the map for Turkey, but I don't know.
Buckets 2024.
That's all you got to say.
Education is going to be at the forefront of this campaign as well. We're gonna revolutionize education in this country when Buckets.
It's a
becomes
great
president.
platform.
It is
a great platform.
Just last night, I kid you not. My son says to me as I open up his report card, I don't lie, right here. He has a C- in math right now. He says to me, Dad, when am I ever going to need 7th grade math? Truer words have never been spoken. I had nothing to say to my son. I said, keep it up, son. Keep it up. That's how I feel right now. That Buckets has a C- in geography. It's California, Buckets. It's San Diego, California.
He did pick the 2 states that border California, so it was in the vicinity.
Partial credit.
Yeah.
All right. Let's get to it now because we got several picks on the board today. All right, Sia Nejad. Let's get this thing back on the tracks. A lot of baseball today, and there has been a team on the East Coast in Maryland that has been scoring some runs. They haven't been necessarily winning, but they've been scoring. Talk to me. Start us off.
That East Coast team, by the way, Buckets, is not the Texas Rangers, because that's an actual state. He's, of course, referring to the Baltimore Orioles. And my pick is going to be the over in that Orioles-Texas Rangers game. What's interesting, this opened at 8.5. It actually got bet down to 8. So, take caution, I guess, to some degree, but I just really love how this sets up. Both of these teams have been scoring plenty of runs through their first 3 games, and I'm not super impressed by the pitching matchup here. You got Bradish for Baltimore, who really isn't that great of a pitcher. Last year, ERA, well over 4, bordering 5. And then you got John Gray, who I think a lot of people like this year, but again, 8 runs with these two teams, both of them that can bat. I think one thing we know about this Orioles team is they've got some young bats. Their pitching is a completely different question. Bullpen, all of those things, completely different question. But even against decent pitchers like John Gray, can they put up 5-6 runs? Yeah, potentially, but they certainly can put up 3 or 4. And I expect Texas to put up plenty of runs against Bradish. So I really like the over here of 8. It's -110 over at Caesars. I noticed it was -115. Again, it got bet down from 8.5. So take that for what it's worth. But I really think this is a soft line in this particular game.
Not only of both teams over the weekend, they were hitting their overs in the 5th, 6th innings.
Mm-hmm.
It was early. I love this spot. Thank you, Sia Nejad, for being a professional. Now, Proppy, you already teased yourself that Charlie Morton is not the pitcher maybe that he used to be, but how do we take advantage of that?
Yeah, Coach, I think the best way to is fade his Ks, which is 5.5. So let's go under 5.5 strikeouts for Charlie Morton. He's 39 years old. He has pitched a ton. It's his first start of the season. I would be absolutely shocked if he eclipsed 80 pitches in this start. He's also facing a Cardinals lineup that, in my opinion, is one of the 2 or 3 best lineups in baseball. Wilson Contreras just becoming their starting catcher from an offensive standpoint is just a massive upgrade. This Cardinals team last year had one of the lowest K rates versus opposing right-handed pitchers, and in my opinion, they have improved. So I think there's a lot of ways that Charlie Morton stays under, whether it's the bats getting to him early or it's just going to be tough to strike out 6 Cardinals batters, in my opinion, and especially this early in the season when he's not stretched out. So let's fade Charlie Morton under 5.5 strikeouts.
A quick question for you. When you are in the lab, based off of something Sia said earlier when we were talking about the pick the prop, do you factor in the fact that pitchers historically, they're trying to work them into the season, have shorter starts in April as opposed to maybe when we get to June or July?
Absolutely, but that's also built into the line. The sports books are also aware of the fact that these guys aren't really eclipsing 80, 85 pitches. Their velocity is also down. The goal is to get their velocity up by, say, June, July, and then finish the season strong. It's such a marathon. So, yeah, everyone's cognizant of that information, but certainly it weighs into the process.
Okay. Thank you very much, Alex, again, for being a pro. Now, the chat has been lighting up the last 5 minutes. Lighting up. Jamie says 7th grade math is crucial in figuring out how many points you need to cover a spread. True. Brock says he knows where Turkey is. Reed kind of sums it up. On spring break, I just asked my kindergartner. She knew it was California. Thank you, Reed. And thank your daughter, too. Thank your daughter for paying attention in class. So, one play from SportsLine itself. Don't tell me we don't put Matt Severance on the show because he's the only one at SportsLine on this play today. White Sox -130. We already went over their pitching. He will dominate today. We're taking the White Sox -130 courtesy Matt Severance at SportsLine. If you're a member, you already had it. Buckets. As I look at the soccer schedule, as I do every single morning, I Google it. It's part of my preparation for the show. The one you're on right now. And I looked today, and of the main leagues, there's like 1 game in each one, but I am sure there is an obscure league as well that I am not aware of. So I've taken my personal bias and disgust out of this situation. And I believe that you've earned the right to be in the Maestro spot today. So let me step out of the way. Give me your 2 plays, please.
Well, I just want to let you know, first and foremost, Coach, that hashtag Buckets 2024 is already trending on Twitter. So let's take that momentum and put it into our picks here today. I know that this week we have the Masters and March Madness finals going on, but let us not forget that we also have match day 25 of the Turkish Super League, and we have an absolute banger of a matchup between Istanbulspor and Fatih Karagümrük at 1:30 p.m. this afternoon. And if there's one thing we know about these teams, they love goals. I'll be on both teams to score and over 2.5 goals this game, which is currently sitting at -110. And here's why. I'm just going to read the last 5 score lines of the Fatih games real quick. 2-2, 2-2, 4-3, 3-1, 4-2. This team does not play any semblance of defense at all, but they score a ton. They have the highest both teams to score and the highest over 2.5 goal rate in the entire league. And they're playing an Istanbulspor side that is currently in the relegation zone. And when you're in the relegation zone, nothing matters but going for goals here. I expect this game to be an absolute slugfest, and that value at -110 is way too good to ignore. Then I do have my obscure league, but I've also got our big primetime league here. Coach, in Siri. Of course, we're talking about the matchup between Sassuolo and Torino. And I have one pick here for the show, but I have 2 additional picks on the SportsLine website because I did an article for this matchup because I really do think this is a fun one. Sassuolo have turned into a bit of a hidden gem in Serie A under manager Alessio Dionisi, as they currently have the longest active win streak in all of Serie A. In a league that contains teams like Napoli, Lazio, Roma, Juventus, and the Milan clubs, Sassuolo has the longest win streak. The team is doing something different as they have won their last 4 matches straight, including a game against Roma in which they won 4-3. They're taking on a Torino side that the game before the break, they had all their momentum squashed. Getting a little mixed up here as they lost 4-0 to Napoli. I'm expecting Sassuolo to come back once again and find a win here, but we're getting draw no bet at -135 right now. That juice is absolutely worth the squeeze, Coach.
I love that because that means a draw. I'm still getting my money back on the draw no bet line. By the way, in the chat, Joe says, why doesn't he know how to use air quotes either? And by the way, I wanted to point some out because we're always about educate and entertain. There's a lot of new people in the chat, a lot of new people finding the show every single day. So you use the term relegation zone. And if I'm not mistaken, that's when a team, based off their performance, is in jeopardy of losing their spot, correct?
Correct. So in the Turkish Super League, the bottom 4 teams every season drop to the division below. And when you drop, you lose a ton of funding, and usually your best players are going to leave. So relegation is a huge deal because if you drop, your team can kind of fall apart.
Okay. So based off performance, almost losing your spot. It sounds very similar to your career on the early edge right now, Buckets. Very, very similar. Grab your paper. Grab your pencil. Here is the recap, courtesy of the Snake on the 1s and the 2s. Oh, Sia Nejad. He's on the Rangers. Orioles over 8. Proppy, Charlie Morton under 5.5. Then I'm not even going to pronounce those 2 teams, but he told you a lot of goals. So put them together, both teams to score and over 2.5. You bring that juice way down to -110. Then Sassuolo in Serie -135 draw, no bet. Then one play from SportsLine itself. White Sox money line, courtesy Matty Severance, -130. Do not forget, later today, early edge in 5 at 4 p.m. Eastern time. Our national preview, national championship preview at 8 p.m. Eastern time tonight, leading up to San Diego State and UConn for the national title. Hopefully you had a good time today. Knowledge is power. Educate and entertain. That's what we're here for. So with all that being said, there's only one thing left to do, and I believe you all know what that is. You've got your marching orders. Let's take all of these tickets straight to the pay window. For my entire crew, Lembo, Counselor, Proppy, Buckets, Snake always in the back doing the hard work. I am the coach. Turn on your notifications. You don't want to miss one single second of our content. We're just growing. We're just getting bigger. Baseball season means we continue on. We grind for you so we can win with you. It's what we're all about at the early edge. Good luck.